Welcome to another week of Bible devotions. This week we're going to study the book of 2 Samuel. So, following the book of the 1st Samuel, we are now going to follow the story of David, who was anointed king, but still not king. So what really happened here? Towards the end of 1st Samuel, we mentioned last week that Saul died. And even after that, David was still not king of Israel. So, the first chapter of 2 Samuel opened with David hearing the news about Saul's death. I will read to you. After the death of Saul, when David had returned from striking down the Amalekites, David remained 2 days in Ziklag. And on the third day, behold, a man came from Saul's camp with his clothes torn and dirt on his head. So that means the person is mourning. And when he came to David, he fell to the ground and paid homage. David said to him, "Where do you come from?" And he said to David, "I have escaped from the camp of Israel." And David said to him, "How did it go? Tell me." And he answered, "The people fled from the battle, and also many of the people have fallen and are dead. And Saul and his son Jonathan are also dead." See, this messenger, the Amalekite, was hoping that since David is an enemy of Saul, David would be happy to hear of Saul's death. Verse 11, Then David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and so did all the men who were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and for Jonathan his son and for the people of the Lord and for the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. And David said to the young man who told him, "Where do you come from?" And he answered, "I am the son of a sojourner, an Amalekite." David said to him, "How is it you were not afraid to put out your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?" Remember, David spared Saul's life. Twice he had an opportunity to kill him, but he did not. Because for him, Saul is an anointed king of God. Yet this man was proudly telling the story of how he killed King Saul. So for David, it's something, how could you do that? In chapters 1 to 4 of 2 Samuel, you will see that there will be lots of death. Saul and Jonathan died. And then Saul's son, Ishbosheth, who took over after Saul died, would be killed as well. Even though David did not want that, and David did not have any part in that. Another person from Saul's camp, Abner, would side with David, but he will be killed too by David's commander, Joab. David did not want that. So much killing. All these things would lead to the warrior, David, taking up the throne of Israel, becoming the king. But the process is gruesome, the process is bloody, and David did not want that. He did not want that. Not among the people of Israel. He did not want those death. And it's so sad that even his best friend died in the process. And our principle for today is, true success is not self-preservation, but service and protection. Why is it that David did not want to touch Saul? He did not want to kill Saul. It's because for him, it's a service for Israel that he's running away from Saul. He's still serving Saul even though he's running away from him. Never once did he consider Saul as his enemy. For him, Saul is still his king and is running away to protect him, to serve him. Whatever it is that David the warrior is doing, it's all in service and protection for Israel and for his people. For him, that is the definition of true success in his life. Now, us, sometimes, when we want to succeed, we resort to things. We step on other people, we cheat, we lie, we deceive people, we try to do all these things just to get what we want. But during that time, all it is that David wants is to serve God and to serve the king that he anointed. Imagine if all those blood happened through the hands of David, him eliminating those people, so he would be able to preserve his life, so that he would get the thing that he wants the most, then that will not be success. But it is success, it's true success for David, because all throughout, he did not seek self-preservation. Yes, he tried to protect himself by running away, but what he was doing all the time, serving people, serving God, serving the king, and trying to protect everyone that he could, because that's what true success is.